One of the questions we hear most often from credit unions is, where do I start? Where do I begin the journey? Keith, maybe you could take a look. Where do we begin?
Yeah, thanks, George. And it is a question a lot of credit unions ask because they're trying to determine how they start that payments transformation and real-time payments journey. So what we often have them evaluate is the easiest path to start is being able to receive real-time payments. It isn't much of a lift if you have some external parties that do digital banking and other services, and you can provide the convenience to your members of at least being able to receive disbursements in real time, which could be a payroll deposit that comes in real time that we talked about a little bit earlier, or other disbursements where it would make more higher degree of convenience for those members. So the other aspects they have to then start evaluating are those things that I just referenced. Who are those partners they have from a technology perspective, whether it's their core, their digital banking provider, their digital onboarding provider, the lending platform, that are going to create opportunities for them to accelerate the availability of real-time data and money movement and what we call real-time payments. And then doing an inventory of those and having engagements with them to determine what is going to be the timeline that they have placed on their roadmaps for being able to work with an organization such as a Sherpa and an open framework to help them through that process. And then the final aspect we've talked a little bit is that you can look at the depth of disruptors in the ACH activity that's occurring today with fintechs that are serving their members. So if they can take a phased approach, they can look at those things that are technology enablement organizations as a longer term view and take an impact assessment of what they're experiencing today with their members. It can help them to chart a plan toward RTP enablement.
That's great. And Charles, if we look at B2B scenarios, where could credit unions look for some help?
George, there are many use cases for B2B, and our phased approach has a strong B2B focus. Credit unions and their business members can benefit greatly from improved cash or treasury management with RTP. The ability to submit a request for payment or make last-minute payment requests can significantly improve cash flow for businesses. Keith talked briefly about requests for payment, and as we achieve a higher system level of ubiquity, the ability to send out a request for payment that reaches the consumer by email or text is a significant benefit for businesses. Likewise, businesses can create RTP options on their bill pay sites to expedite payments. I also participate on the Business Payments Coalition, and I can report that treasury management systems and accounts payable solution providers are actively working on the integration of real-time payments into their systems. We fully expect that B2B payments will expand to be a large part of the RTP rail.
Thanks, Charles. And Toby, from a funding agent perspective, what tools are available? How can credit unions get more information?
Sure. There are many, many layers that the credit unions will need to take a look at and consider when getting onto and participating in the real-time payments network. One of those layers is the funding and the settlement. Once they decide to become a participant on TCH's network, they will need to decide whether they're going to be self-funded or they want to use the services of a funding agent. So one of the considerations that will probably take the most time to evaluate is how you're going to staff, for example, the 24/7, 365 nature of this program. So there's a considerable resources that will be needed to man this, so to speak, during off hours. Again, there's no cutoffs at the end of the day. There's no more weekends where nothing's happening. The holidays, transactions are happening. There is even the potential for a credit union to get an alert during the middle of the night, for example, or on a Saturday or a Sunday that says that they are running short on funds. They will need to have funds available for these transactions to be sent. And those alerts that they start running low on funds could come at any time. So that's one of the big considerations that the credit unions will need to really take a deep evaluation into.
So one of the things that we really want to get to as we talk through this conversation is real next steps. What does a readiness checklist look like? What does a credit union really have to do to take that first step? Toby, maybe you could start with that.
Sure, and I just want to reassure that the credit unions that there's a lot of information that they need to know about real-time payments, but they're not alone. There's a lot of information that's available either through the clearinghouse and even through Corporate One. We've been working closely together with Keith's group at Sherpa, and we've documented a lot of what we have found along the way. We have a learning library that's full of articles, webinars, videos that credit unions can use as a resource to learn what they need to do and start beginning to compile that checklist that they need.
Great. Charles, what would you outline?
George, we still see a bit of a wait and see attitude in the industry, but my advice is don't wait to take action. We recommend that you organize a team and begin to evaluate the needs of your members and how you can meet those needs. You need to understand the organizational impact. You should plan to work with existing technology partners, including Corporate One and Sherpa, to create a roadmap. As you begin to realize the benefits and the need for RTP, credit unions will need to engage with their technology partners early. Some vendors have a long list of financial institutions already signed up and increasing wait times for implementation. It's important also to include staff from all areas of the credit union when you're formulating plans. RTP touches many departments. There are several valuable tools and reference materials that we've made available through our Real-Time Payments Learning Center. Some of those tools include the Faster Payments Effectiveness Criteria, and that document was created quite a while ago by the full Faster Payments Task Force, but it's got a lot of really good information. It helps to identify important factors to consider when deploying a solution, all the way down to regulatory, security, and fraud considerations. Some additional tools that we have made available to you include two documents that were created in collaboration by the Faster Payments Council and NACHA. These documents are the Faster Payments 101 document, and then I think a document that's specifically designed more for a financial institution is the Faster Payments Playbook, and it lays out a plan for beginning to organize a team, how to evaluate the current environment and begin assessing your needs. Corporate One and Sherpa are always available for consultation, and we're ready and willing to share industry information and our own roadmap in greater detail. Most recently, we've created a Real-Time Payments Learning Center where we can keep credit unions abreast of industry events and advancements, regulatory changes, and we have several tools and reference materials that can help educate your staff in various aspects of RTP, including detailed technical documents that are required. And finally, we are building this library of use cases to help identify how RTP can be applied and to encourage ideas for creative solutions. We're here to help credit unions in any way that we can.
Sounds great. A lot of places to go look. Keith, I know we at Sherpa have learned a lot at RTP. Maybe you could expand a little bit on things that we have.
Sure. So we have learned through participation in the advisory committee with the Clearinghouse and the RTP advisory committee, as well as on the business committee. So in addition to the resources that Toby referenced, Corporate One has created in the learning library, and all the information that Charles has referenced with respect to the FPC and great documentation they've issued, RTP and the advisory committee is working to understand what is most impactful for that community financial institution and outlining the steps they need to take into consideration, the use cases, the providers they need to engage, and try to put that in a very concise playbook or readiness checklist to make sure that the institution can check off those items as they move through it. And I think other resources include NACHA, ePay, and all the other regional payment associations that are issuing documentation or repurposing things coming from the FPC or Corporate One's readiness and site that has been developed. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for information, but putting together something that your credit union can consume through that body that Charles mentioned in an enterprise and collaborative group internally is going to be the most impactful. And if folks need third-party resources in terms of consulting, we've got those relationships too that we could bring to bear if they so need it.
That's fantastic. So we hope that we've helped you understand real-time payments and the impact it's going to have. It's going to impact your entire organization. It's not just a technology. It's not a solution that's being pushed from the outside. It's a solution that you should feel the pull, that you need to be able to participate. Corporate One and Sherpa Technologies have a lot of capabilities. We've learned a lot, so feel free to use us and refer to us if you have any questions, in any way that we can help you. Thank you.